First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Fox 12 Now. Thanks for joining us. We're live streaming out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. We're here every weekday at 1 o'clock and we go throughout the afternoon. We cover a wide range of topics. This one, just the name alone, has been fascinating, but also finding out about the trend and what it really means is a little bit scary and something that we're going to be discussing here as far as what it is. I'm talking about bone smashing, a trend that you may or may not have heard of on TikTok, but it is something that's going on. And we want to know a little bit more about this. To do so, we need an expert. And that's what we have right here. We've got Dr. Samuel Bartholomew, who's joining us, a Portland surgeon and more. And Doctor, thank you for being here. And before we get into that, would you mind just telling us a quick bit about yourself as well, and then we'll get into what this trend of bone smashing is.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm a board-certified plastic and reconstructive surgeon. I've been in practice for about 18 years in the Portland area, and I do a wide variety of plastic and cosmetic surgery and a lot of reconstructive surgery, and I have a history of complex facial reconstruction, so I'm happy to talk about this new viral trend.
And so, thank you very much. And to that extent, can you tell us what is bone smashing?
Yeah. Well, I can't think of anything worse to do, but I'll tell you about what this is. So it's a viral trend, and the idea is to increase some of the prominence or projection, or increase more angular appearance to male, masculine faces. And the idea is by repetitive trauma, by using a hammer and repeatedly tapping or trying to hit, or even called bone smashing. It's more like it goes from tapping to a little bit more kind of aggressive hitting. But the idea is to create micro trauma so that it somehow remodels so that it's bigger and gives you more prominence in that area. The idea is to create potentially a more masculine appearance, more angular jaw. That's the thought behind it, and I don't think, and it's really, it's not true.
So. And this is something where we've seen, or you've witnessed people doing this on TikTok being one of the biggest platforms, I think, where we've certainly heard it and seen it. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. And I've seen a number of different videos. There's a number of different real famous influencers doing this and really trying to increase the improve their appearance in a way, but I think it's misguided.
Is there any scientific evidence, just to ask this question, is there any scientific evidence or something from your perspective, from a medical standpoint, where this is something that could be viable to reshape your bone structure?
Absolutely not. No, I think hopefully it will be a viral trend and it will go away as a viral trend because there's really no evidence to support that this is a way viably to improve your appearance in a safe, reliable way. I mean, if you think about it, I can't think of anything more imprecise than hitting your face with a hammer. We've got a lot more tools at our disposal, whether it's fillers, there's facial implants. There's a lot of things that can increase or improve the appearance of your facial skeleton because really it's a misguided attempt to somehow reconstruct or to change the appearance of your facial skeleton, and it's just not that. There's no evidence whatsoever to show that it works. And
when it comes down to it, for this, I guess, this idea of changing your facial bone structure, really what's behind this? At the end of the day, is this because
I mean, and I think people refer to Wolff's Law. It's this idea of remodeling bone over time, generally with sort of repetitive stress from like exercise. But really what we're talking about with this trend is micro trauma, at best soft tissue or like muscle or fat damage and bruising, at worst little microfractures. And one, it's incredibly imprecise. So, I mean, as a surgeon, the idea of someone taking a hammer to their face is just so incredibly imprecise. And I just can't imagine a more sort of destructive way to try to change your appearance. So I think it's using this sort of idea of Wolff's Law, which again, I think is not applicable in this case because it's a different kind of mechanism in terms of the bone healing. And so at best, you might see some scarring form in the soft tissue. At worst, you're going to see chronic pain. And just asymmetry. I think it's going to look lumpy, and it's not going to really be this nice chiseled shape you're looking for. It's going to look like a bunch of lumps on your face. And I cannot think of any worse thing to do. I mean, I just think it's the most misguided way to approach this. I mean, it's similar to when I see people from Home Depot or taking fillers from Home Depot and injecting them in different parts of their body. I mean, it's just, I can't think of a worse thing to do, frankly.
You mentioned, what was it, Wolff's Law? Could you explain what that is?
Well, the idea is that bone, through repetitive stress, can remodel and be stronger. So I think that some of the proponents of this, opine that somehow with these micro traumas, you're making the bone stronger. And it's just really not the case. I mean, the bone doesn't grow centrally in these areas. Facial bone structure is different than long bones, like in the extremities. And so it just grows differently. If anything, you're going to get a scar at that bone. At worst case, you'll get what's called a non-union. If you really do fracture the bone and it's severe enough, you'll get an area of bone which doesn't heal and chronic pain. I mean, or you get a deformity. Worst case, you hit yourself with a hammer in the malar bones or across the malar sinus, and you get a depression which will kind of have the opposite effect. So I just don't think this is, I think it's a terrible idea. Let's not mince words here. I mean, I can't think of any worse trend. I mean, just when I think that I've heard it all, people are using hammers to try to change their bone structure. So I think it's viral, it's catchy, it's kind of something that definitely gets a lot of attention on the internet, but I just personally can't think of any more destructive way to try to change your appearance.
If somebody out there really is concerned about their appearance for whatever reason that may be, and they feel that they want a change, or maybe there's an actual medical reason for it, what are some options that they may have?
Yeah, well, and that's true. I mean, I think one, you have to look at, there are, people of all ages, and I think sometimes this, I think teenagers can fall prey to this too. There's reasons why people want to change their appearance, and that's fair. But I think you have to look at when it becomes something that could be harmful, and sometimes it's just peer pressure or feeling like they're not good enough, or and they may have just normal features to begin with, but this idea to somehow change them to meet some online idea of perfection is just really unhealthy. To be fair, there are people that have had injuries, or there are certain conditions where people have asymmetries already of their face or different things, and you can change them. But I think you want to do that in a safe way. And whether it's, so the options available, and I'll tell you, are you can do fillers. So a filler is an off-the-shelf type of product. Most of the time it is a gel. It's like a protein that's injected, can be down on the level of the bone, and really can kind of give you some improvement in contour. There's fat grafting, so you harvest your own fat and inject that. You get a little more volume for that. It tends to be a little bit more aggressive in terms of how much volume you can improve. And there's implants. There are special custom-made implants that are made for cheeks and jaws that can give you a very reliable, well-defined appearance that is it's a lot safer and it's a lot more reliable than hitting your face with a hammer. And there's more other complicated surgeries too to lengthen the jaw and do things in the chin. But the bottom line is people have been interested in doing these types of things to change their appearance for years. This isn't a new idea, but we've got better tools to address that.
And is there a certain demographic that this is, just to reiterate some of the things you already said earlier, but just to get this out there for people who are, is there a certain demographic that this is affecting more than others?
I think it's more younger guys, it's younger men online. And I think it's just a lot of these ideas kind of going to this looks maxing, trying to look for a certain aesthetic. And I think it's just, I think the problem with this, and there are other things as part of looks maxing with filler skincare, things that are less destructive than the idea of the bone smashing, which really, I think at best is going to give you some bruising in your face. At worst, you're going to have some of these other complications if you're really causing significant damage. But again, as a surgeon, this is just so imprecise for how you do this, and I think it's not a reliable way to get the results they want. So I hope this is just a viral trend, and we see this kind of go away in the near future.
Anything else that you think is important for people to know about this?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
I think I think it's one of those things where you see this and you're like, is this real? I can't actually believe someone would do this. And yes, they are doing it. And I think there's a reason you've seen a lot of reaction in the medical community because it's a bad idea, and it is dangerous. And I think I think it shows the influence that people online have. And I think you have to have some common sense and step back and say, this is a bad idea, and it's not worth it. And there's other better established ways to achieve these changes in your appearance.
One other question too, just if we're talking about younger males and say these, could be underage, high school, I don't know what the age range is, but younger males doing this, is there anything that parents can do out there to just be aware of or watch out for maybe any kind of signs if they do have a child who may be engaging in something like this?
Well, if they're going to have bruises in the upper part of the malar region, in the cheeks, maybe in the jaw, where, a lot of these are concentrated up here. It could be bruising. Maybe a black eye, a lot of swelling. Usually it's going to be on both sides. I mean, from what I've seen from the videos, they're doing this bilaterally. They're doing it on both sides, either with a hammer. I've seen it with a massage gun. And they're going to look like they, had some swelling or got in a fight or something. It's not going to look normal. And especially for some of the results they're trying to go to. And I think that's when you sit your kids down and you just got to talk to them and say, like, what's the real reason behind this? And I think especially for the younger kids who are seeing this, they're seeing guys who are maybe older teenagers or some of the 20-year-olds doing this. And they're really looking to them. And I think they're going to get hurt doing it. And you just got to be aware of what your kids are doing and talk to them about it.
Anything else that you think is important for people to know?
No, I think
other than don't do it.
It's a trend. It's dangerous. Don't do it. And there's other ways. Go see a facial surgeon, a plastic surgeon, if you're interested in looking at some different ways to change your appearance significantly, because there's better, safer ways.
All right. Well, doctor, thank you very much for joining us to talk about this. Now everybody is aware of what bone smashing is and what's going on out there. Yeah, just don't do that. Thank you so much, doctor. Really appreciate your time for being here.
Greg. All right, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Okay. And for everybody watching, we appreciate it. This is Fox 12 Now. We get to have these longer form discussions. We're going to take a break. You might see the programming switch here for just a few. We're expecting to actually hear from the president at some point this hour about what's going on in Iran. And as I mentioned, we cover a wide range of topics on this show. So thanks for joining us. Feel free to share this segment. And if you're watching on the Fox 12 Oregon apps, you can watch it live or after the fact. Great way to do that.